Do you think Bill Burr is at risk of the most powerful advertising company in the world, Diageo? They control about 80% of advertising that takes place right now, telling an entire platform that they won't spend a dime unless he's removed, as we had with Rumble. Do you think there's any risk of that with Bill Burr? Speaking of old jokes, Bill Burr.
Nice segue.
One of the funniest comics to have ever done. You could certainly put him in top 20. No one would argue if you put him in top 10 personally of all time. Very funny. Came up in Boston. Nick DiPaolo has spent obviously a lot of time with him. But there's two different Bill Burrs. That really isn't up for debate. Now it just comes down to, okay, why? Is there a flash of genius moment? Why the change? Why the conversion? Why the transition? And I'll grant you that's speculation. What's not speculation is that the change seems to coincide with becoming more of a Hollywood darling as opposed to a rebel comedian, which is how he was viewed before. So it's time for Entertainment Minute. And again, I don't want to be that. Say Bill Burr's not, because that's the laziest thing. People go, oh, you're just not. It's not that you're conservative, so you're not funny, or it's not that you're liberal, so they're not funny. Bill Burr has some incredibly funny
He's
material.
objectively funny.
He's objectively very funny. He's becoming less funny because he's proselytizing more. He's browbeating more, and he seems to revile a good portion of his audience. So, proof positive of that here. Case in point, Bill Burr yesterday gave an interview to Vulture. Where he kind of tried to pass himself off as he's the everyman's man, and it's not left or right. It's just looking at things objectively, and he's out of politics. But you can see where he realizes, oh, wait a second. I have to rehab my image a little bit. I can't be seen as that much of a quisling. Watch.
Right. Do you feel misunderstood if people take you words one way or the other?
No, I'm not I'm deliberately misunderstood.
Got it.
So people are like, it's like a catcher trying to make a ball a strike. I'm not flying either one of their flags. It's the people that pay them. That is the problem. And they're always distracting us with other stuff. So like CNN and Fox News are a disease.
So, and then at the same time, you're talking about billionaires, you're talking about stuff like this, and people on the left have been really embracing you, and they're sharing your videos.
No, that's not true, dude.
Certain parts of the left.
That's not true.
Certain
you
portions
can't
of
have
the
it.
left.
True. And certain portions of the right.
Sure.
There's common sense on both sides.
Sure.
But we keep doing this where it's like, oh, the right's all racist, and the left is some of the most. Most of the left feels like if they have a black friend, they don't have issues. Okay,
Pause. Your attack on the left was literally just positioning yourself as more left than the left.
Yes.
Continue.
Out of that.
Yes.
I'm out of that. So I don't want to hear left and right crap. They're all nuts. That post Me Too, where it went from people shouldn't sexually assault people, absolutely, to I don't like what you're talking about in your act, was nuts.
Was he saying that during Me Too? Right after Me Too?
Kind of. And by the way, the Me Too thing, the problem wasn't I don't like what you're saying in your act. That's separate.
Right.
The problem was because of feminist influence, which of course is left, that people who had done nothing wrong were having their careers destroyed. And by the way, I'll even defend those who were on Aziz Ansari, who's notably left, didn't rape anybody. Oh, you mean a little Indian immigrant is not a skilled lover? Surprise! You saw the ride, you bought a ticket anyway. Chris Hardwick, that guy, it was a witch hunt, and we defended all of them. We defended people who look. Rape is bad. I think I support the death penalty for people who actually commit forcible rape. But he tries to dude, then that going to cancel? No, separate issues.
Yeah.
People were being canceled not just because of Me Too. People were being canceled for being, oh, that's right, what you just accused, racist. Racist, right? People being canceled for being racist, even if they said things that weren't racist at all. So he tries to tiptoe around it no, dude, look, the left doesn't like me, right? They hate me too. He's like, actually, we kind of like you. No, that's not true, right?
Stop saying it.
Look, I'm on an island, right? No one, I do my own thing. Well, you kind of do our thing. No, I don't. Stop.
You're wearing the team jersey. Stop it. Quit.
No, but you're right. He's objectively funny, for sure. But he's also objectively less funny now because he's this curmudgeon tough guy Archie Bunker attitude can't work with woke. It can't work with liberalism. So he's going to go away if he tries to toe that line. He has to be the curmudgeonly, pissed off guy that's kind of get off my lawn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work the other way.
Right.
He's losing it.
Yeah, you're absolutely. And by the way, because Nick's not here, Nick DiPaolo, and he always has to be careful because he still is, in communication. A lot of these guys took notes from him. You can see the moment that Bill Burr was kind of an observational comedian. Then he was on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn and Nick DiPaolo. And Nick's getting huge laughs. And they're both from Boston. And he would be on Opie and Anthony. And you can see when he realized, wait a second, I can kind of take what Nick does and soften it, make it a little more mainstream. Just make it not as rough around the edges. He changed his entire persona. And now that it seems okay, he's gotten to where he wants to be, he's just, it seems like an appeasement tour is what it seems like. And he went on, by the way, we have another clip to talk about, oh yeah, that's right, his post-election SNL hosting gig.
What do you do then when you're put in a position, like SNL asks you to host the week after the election, right? That's like, it's for a comedian, hypothetically, to talk about politics, to unite the nation. How did you feel when you were put in that position?
No, it's an honor to be asked to do that. And I made fun of Kamala and I made fun of Trump. And then I did a couple of silly jokes. I kept it light.
See, that's what they try and do, right? They go, dude, I make fun of everybody, but you don't. No. But you don't. We have literally not had national Republican figureheads on this show because we've poked fun at everybody. But I don't lie to you. Of course I'm a conservative. Of course I'm a conservative. And of course I'm going to naturally make fun of the left more. But we spread it around. He doesn't. That SNL hosting gig, he only made one comparison and really one. Here's how he made fun of everyone. Look at what he does with Kamala. Look, pulls no punches.
It's like, all right, let's see. What does the orange bigot have to say? How about the real estate agent that speaks through her nose? Oh, there's a point. This is so difficult. It's like they overlap. I just can't make up my mind.
That's pretty much the only reference to Yeah, he roasted her. Compare that to his rant in Philly. In most of the interview, he literally defends the term woke. He throws out these people are racist. He just talks, I guess, denigrate just white people because, he has a black wife and a lot of people have a problem with that not because she's black, but because of the fact that a lot of his friends, the circles he ran in, whether it was the Opie and Anthony crowd, they became in charge of the Patrice O'Neill, whatever it is, the benefit fund. I mean, I think Nick DiPaolo was a pallbearer and he's never been invited to speak once. He had a show with Patrice O'Neill. Patrice O'Neill was the most regular guest on Opie and Anthony and had a dating advice show that I believe was under one of their sub-channels on XM Radio. And Bill Burr hadn't spoken with Patrice for years. As far as we know, they had a falling out, but now he wants to carry that mantle while cutting out the people who Patrice actually worked with and respected. So the rest of this interview is racist, white people bad, woke, and something, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro talked about going to one of your shows and complaining about you becoming woke, which sort of then created this.
He doesn't even know what that word means.
Let me sum
his definition of woke is white liberals' definition of woke, and they didn't even know what it was. They just took the word from black people. That's the worst thing about.
Again, his attack on the left. I criticize everybody, right? Like, you Republicans, you're racist, right, dude? And liberals, I make fun of, like, you're not, dude, you're racist too. You're not liberal enough. He's positioning himself to the left of the left and acts as though he's being objective. Let's continue.
Our people is not only do we take from other cultures, we don't even take the time to understand the definition.
Yeah.
He went there to be annoyed so he can then have something to talk about, and then he can make money off of dividing his own country.
Yeah.
Those people, it's treasonous what they do.
Yes.
When you say divide, you mean disagree with you. Because Ben Shapiro, he's not a comedian, right? And I get it. He's not supposed to be funny. But his job is to comment, to provide insight into topical issues. Kind of like you, Bill. So I don't get it when comedians sort of berate someone for doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't get it when talking heads do it toward comedians. But again, he might as well be on CNN right here. Let's continue.
But to be fair, or not to be fair, to the fact is that it worked for what his goal is, which is then it became a thing online where then a certain portion of the right complained about how you're woke.
Racists.
And more racist.
They're racist. Yeah, they send pictures of monkeys to me and my wife. They're fucking horrible people, and they're cowards, and they never say it to your face.
Ooh. Okay, so not left or let's get out of that, right, dude? Not like left or right? Let's get out of that, okay? Right? Like, come on. Like, these guys say you're woke. Hold on a second. You just made a generalization, and the worst kind, racist.
Yeah.
Maybe you weren't articulate enough to say, well, there's this small subset. But you were talking about Ben Shapiro and the people who watch him. And then talk about cultural appropriation. I guess we're all going to conveniently ignore Bill's appropriation of his own, which, some people would say that infringes. I was trying to think of how to merge Richard Pryor and Bill Burr.
It's hard.
I named that screw with white people. And I'm like, dude, how do I do with black? Dude, I don't know how to do it.
Somewhere there. You're close.
No one's ever even tried.
There's a reason.
You do it. So talking about woke, they took it and the left doesn't know what it means. Well, here's Erykah Badu, who is largely sort of attributed with coining the term in 2008. I know that there are a few other people in there. And here's her explaining what woke... I know the clip that's coming up. Here's her explaining what woke means.
Florida is where woke goes to hide.
I think they mean black.
Pause. That hat looks like it's made out of that playground material at the mall that it's like you'd think is softer than it is, but it's not really soft.
No. I think she got her head dipped at the Maker's Mark factory.
But only has half of a hat? Not sure how that happened.
Gerald would think it's a Belglo Pinot.
Yeah.
She looks like a child-safe pirate. Okay, continue.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm. It's just another way to say thug or something else, right? Once something goes out in the world, it takes a life of its own. It's an energy of its own. I can tell you what woke means.
Please.
It just means being aware, being in alignment.
Of what? To
with
what?
nature. Because if you're in alignment with that, you're aware of everything that's going on. And it's not only in the political arena. That means with your health. That means in your relationships. That means in your home. That means in your car. It means in your sleep.
Woke in your sleep? That's called insomnia.
I'm not supposed to be aware then.
Like, they want to call you a thug. You look like a thug that the kid getting his Happy Meal.
And sure, there's nothing natural about extensions and rhinoplasty.
Extensions, rhinoplasty, a bandana, and an envelope seal from the 1800s on my head.
with a signet ring.
She's just describing being very high.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's just, look, this is the thing. It's just, I understand what you mean. Words mean different things.
Yeah.
They change and they warp. We use words to be like, we say father, you say missing person.
But it doesn't even work as a word, does it? You're awoke. No, you're awaken. So
Darren's going to gloss
you know what I mean?
last thing.
Oh, we're doing the grammar shit now. We're doing the colonialist grammar shit. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You kept me and my foam rubber hat people down with your language laws long enough.
You and your syntax and grammar and shit.
You and your heteronormative hats.
You go to Maker's Mark and resist the urge to dip your head in that. Okay? You do it.
By the way, it's dangerous too. You ever see what happened when they're making the wort, they fermented it, people pass out. CO2 down there.
Isn't there a little tab on the wax too off to the side?
There is.
It looks just like the hat.
Yeah, that's how I take it off.
That's right.
That's where you get it started.
That's why it's one size fits all. Dude, that's racist. You can't. She's black. She's wearing a hat. Like, you just don't know. I don't know that looks really, really silly.
It does. It's not right. It looks like the Dots candy, isn't that what those things are?
That said, though, she's a very pretty woman. You could tell without all the gimmickry, she could be very attractive.
Sure.
To some
No, I'm saying.
She needs 5 less edibles.
Yeah.
per hour.
I mean, you got to work.
That's perfect. I love how Bill says that with, unironically saying, like, we just take words and we don't even, try to understand what they originally mean. I'm like, are you serious? Like, do we need to talk about fags? What that word meant, or gay, or maybe the rainbow taken from Christianity? Like, these things happen all the time. Words' meanings do actually change, and people take them and kind of co-opt them.
I know.
And it becomes the cultural norm. It's like, I don't like it either, but whatever. Who cares?
Bill Burr in 2025 will not take an unsafe position on any issue.
No.
Good point. That's it.
And that, to me, that's a departure. That's a notable departure. And so you have to ask the question, why? So when we here are saying, well, and I don't really use the term woke that much. I'll say woke, but I usually marry it with leftist. That's the term I've always used. I've used it. You can go back to 2008. I know back then people go, what's a leftist? So you'd have to say the term liberal. Mm-hmm. Now then there was social justice warrior. The term woke, I don't really like that term. It's a little bit tired. But when people say woke, and I say leftist, Bill, just to be clear, we mean, stuff like this.
For me, I can't help but think about the 13-year-old brown girl who gets all her denim at American Eagle, who already struggles to see her beauty and worth in a world that continues to value white, Eurocentric beauty standards.
Good genes passed on to offspring? That American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is literally
that
about
apartment's
eugenics.
creepy as
I
fuck.
will be the friend that's too woke, because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird. Like,
she's not
fascist weird. Like, Nazi propaganda.
She can't be woke.
Weird.
She has sleep apnea.
Sydney Sweeney, here we go again. Setting back woman 20 to 40 years.
The color of that mic.
It's literally giving
It's a little
Nazi
weird.
propaganda.
Yeah, the shape bothered me more.
I truly cannot fathom
both.
why Sydney Sweeney agreed to do this ad.
What makes this whole Sydney Sweeney American Eagle, I got good genes debacle even more egregious is that blonde hair and blue eyes is not even good genes. Blonde hair and blue eyes are literally genetic mutations. They're literally recessive genes.
Great. Now do giant, fat, cartoonishly large asses.
Had to get through. They had to write the script. They had to act it out. They had to edit it together. And they still thought, this is the message we want to send. Like, there's no way that message wasn't intentional.
Hey, you want to go to American Eagle?
Oh, I can't go in there because I'm black.
Mission accomplished, I guess.
Do not buy
Watch
them.
this.
And cancel this person, Miss Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda. Cancel American Eagle.
You used the word normal and talked about it in the context of this white woman. White women are normal, but so are other people. The problem is, historically, we have only normalized white people. And so we've made white women's bodies, white male bodies, the norm. And we've made everything else less human, less beautiful, less real. And so when we say good genes are the ones that...
What a load of crap.
Thank you, Piers.
Good for you, Piers. You're not right on everything.
Yeah.
But you got that one. Jeez.
Stuff like that. Looking for reasons to be offended, finding a boogeyman where it doesn't necessarily exist, or false equivalencies. For example, like, oh, yeah, Sydney Sweeney commercial is the equivalent to fascist Nazi propaganda, or false equivalency like Elon Musk putting his hand out being the equivalent of a Nazi salute, or equating the Klan with a glorified drinking club, the Proud Boys. Stuff like this, Bill.
That idiot Elon Musk.
Oh.
That guy, like, he's going to, who evidently is a Nazi. Like, I just refuse to believe that it was an accidental 2-time Sieg Heil.
Why do you think people are still in the Klan? 2024, and some guy yelled out, he goes, something to do! The reason why they still fucking exist is because they don't with white people. That's basically it. If they did to white people what the they've done to black people, how long do you think that stupid group would have been around?
These billionaires, they need to be put down. Like rabid dogs. They're like rabid with greed and just going out and just dividing everybody.
You know what I mean? Because some corporate had to give himself a bonus check at the end of the year. What if we made it worse, but made it look the same?
Yeah.
Then could our pools be bigger? Free Luigi! But CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes! Free Luigi! As a white person, you don't enjoy the Klan, right? You want to join a younger, hipper, white nationalist group, right? Like the neo-Nazis or the Proud Boys.
you know, with their little fades, you know, and their little okey doke thing. They stick their pee-pees through or whatever the secret handshake is. I'm looking out my white head, watching this white shit. It's coming back into my white eyes, getting whiter by the fucking second. Right? Now, my wife, on the other hand, she's black, right? You guys stood by us toxic white males through centuries of our crimes against humanity. You rolled around in the blood money, and occasionally, when you wanted to sneak off and hook up with a black dude, if you got caught, you said it wasn't consensual.
How you can be the support the troops, you know, America love it or leave it, and then this guy comes in and gives a shout out to Hitler.
Like that Colin Kaepernick guy, right? You knew when he was like protesting during the national anthem, no one was going to listen to what the f*** he had to say, no matter how much he explained it.
And we don't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. What would be the sense of making it illegal? Oh, that's really going to stop Putin. No. To stop people from going to war, you have to also put boots.
Can't sit down and talk it out. Why can't Putin do a podcast with the head guy? Like, you just solved the Middle East on a podcast. Why can't they solve what they're doing on a podcast?
See, this is why this is not your thing.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
Like and here's the thing: when people say, "Yeah, you know, in comedy, you don't punch down, right? You're supposed to you're supposed to sort of speak truth to power. All right, stick it to the man." You think that's the Klan in 2025 or 2024? You think it's the neo-Nazis? I mean, they haven't been relevant. They weren't relevant when American History X was made. So then you say the Proud Boys as though you try and sort of equate that. Mm-hmm. Hey, who caused the billions of dollars worth of damages on a premise that was entirely race-based? Black Lives Matter. Let's just be clear about that. If you're talking about those in positions of authority, why did DEI have to be undone? Because it had been done. Do you think Bill Burr is at risk of the most powerful advertising company in the world, Diageo? They control about 80% of advertising that takes place right now, telling an entire platform that they won't spend a dime unless he's removed, as we had with Rumble. Do you think there's any risk of that with Bill Burr? I'm not saying you have to go out and take risks. Some of my favorite comedians ever are not risky. I mean, Brian Regan is a great example. There are people out there, you know, it's hard for me to think. Jim Gaffigan, great. Seinfeld, growing up. Or Richard Jeni, he certainly wouldn't. The problem is when you go out and present yourself to be a risk taker when you're the exact opposite. That's the issue. Also, there's nothing less masculine than changing your views and saying it's because you're a woman. Because my wife's black, right? Look.
Yeah.
Look at the melanin. Dude, I'll tell you, I'm with a Latina. I have changed my opinion zero. Matter of fact, we walked through the mall where people, now she's completely Americanized and she speaks 3 languages, one of which is Spanish. We walked through the mall and I said, do you realize that I've gone 3 minutes and not heard a word of English? Every single word has been Spanish. I said, just want you to know, people like me feel like it's no longer our country. She said, oh, me too. I get it. She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
I will tell her, I've changed my view zero. If anything, it's forced me to undergird it, to explain it so she knows, and we're in complete agreement. My wife's black, right? So everything I said, like, the opposite of that now.
It's also about paychecks, man. I'm sorry. It seems like his loyalty right now is not to any kind of political ideology or any party, but it's to paychecks. And that typically makes him line up with the left or left of left on everything.
Yeah.
I have no respect for people like that. For people who disagree with me, I have a lot of respect. I understand like why certain people hold their views and would come out and say things that they say. I disagree with what they say, but I'm like, all right, I can respect that. Him, zero.
Yeah, and his whole tough guy, disrespectful attitude, that's his persona, right?
Right.
Anywhere out in the real world gets him ragged out, but now he wants to settle things on a podcast. Can't we just agree? Can't we just? No, that's not your style, Bill. You're not agreeable.
Right. That's also not practical. Okay, so here, let me just play this out for you. Okay, we told Russia when they went into Ukraine to go home. They said no. Your plan just failed.
Yeah.
I
guess we can't talk anymore. No, I guess not.
Did you hear Bill Maher's argument there?
Yeah.
That. Hey, we're just going to make it illegal so Putin he's not going to obey the law. He just argued against his gun control argument.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
He doesn't even realize what he's just said about let's outlaw guns. Well, it's obviously that criminals aren't going to obey that.
In his defense now, he says, like, I'm not, the gun control, I have 2 guns in my house. And then it's like, but that's all someone needs. No, I think more like 40 guns.
The guard shack has many more.
Yes.
At the driveway.
It's one of those issues where it's just, and you know what, Patrice O'Neal, because people love to venerate him now, and Bill Burr goes out and does it, and the reason it bothers me is because Nick DiPaolo, if you go back, you can listen to the old Opie and Anthony. Him and Patrice had a show that they would do called Shorties Watching Shorties on Comedy Central. They were paired up all the time, and they had huge arguments where Nick that you see today is the exact same Nick there. And Patrice said, you know what, you fucking racist skinny, at least you're honest, so we can have, you're a racist, but you know it. And he didn't have respect for people who tried to do the white guilt, the, oh no, I'm an ally type thing. So him and Nick got along, and Nick would say racist things, and hilarious racist jokes, and so would Patrice O'Neal. I have no problem with it because you know exactly where you stand. Now Bill Burr acts like, yeah, I'm the one in charge of the legacy of Patrice O'Neal, and everyone knows that he was nowhere near as close with Patrice O'Neal as people like Anthony Cumia, as people like Nick DiPaolo. People have to be careful because now he's kind of in a position of power. So people have to acquiesce to him. So it's disappointing. Objectively, I still think he's funny. Let me ask you this. Can you separate the art from the artist as it relates to humor? Mm-hmm. Now, I won't patronize artists who want to destroy this country, but I can objectively say I think he's funny. Bill Maher has never made me laugh accidentally. And I disagree with a lot of what he says. Jon Stewart, I think, is hilarious. Yeah. I think he was funnier, obviously, when he was doing his show back then. Now he's become a little bit more of an activist. He's always been biased, and I do think he's been misleading with that, but I think he's objectively funny. I think that John Oliver, can be very funny.
Yeah.
And I think that he's an absolute hack who does zero research. Seth Meyers,
Not
no.
a joke. That was true.
Stephen Colbert. So when I say in my opinion, this is not a funny bit or funny person at all, I want to be consistent with that. I don't know that Bill Burr really does that either, which also seems sort of like an anti-comedian approach. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, you can click around and watch one of these videos on YouTube, or head on over to Rumble and subscribe, where I am live every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Live on Rumble. YouTube is dead. Rumble did it. And on Rumble, you can say